Hey everyone, hope all is well. Not too long ago I made a video called I Love Documentaries, in which I spoke about how I love documentaries. Surprise, surprise. And I have a list of over 100 I still want to watch, but deciding where to start was quite a difficult task. And this inspired me to come up with a new video series called DocWatch. This is how it's going to work. Every month I'm going to sit down with a friend and we're going to watch a documentary off that list. We're then going to make a video together, running through 5 key things we took away. This list could include things that inspired us, particular facts or lessons that we feel everyone should know, or just general points it really made us think about. With this being the first one, just to help get the ball rolling, I am by myself and I'm going to be covering a documentary I saw a couple of years ago, which I still think is brilliant. You'll never guess which one it is. Food Inc. is a 2008 Oscar-nominated documentary in which director Robert Kenner examines the US food industry and the ways that it can harm human health and the environment. One thing I really loved about Food Inc. was that it didn't come across as pushy. There's often concerns with documentaries about food that it's telling you what to eat, or it's vegan or vegetarian propaganda. I mean, I don't use those particular phrases, but I understand what people mean. Even if you were to take away all the facts and all the case studies in this documentary, it still leaves you with a really interesting and important question. Shouldn't we know what is in our food? Because after all, one of the most invasive things you can do is put something inside you. And so don't we have a right to know exactly what that is? So here are my 5 key takeaways from Food Inc. Number 1, our disconnect from nature. At the very start, the documentary looks at the concept of a supermarket, something that is a big part of our everyday lives. Modern American supermarkets have on average 47,000 products, which helps create the illusion of diversity. It talks about the creation of this pastoral fantasy. When you look at a lot of products, it has a picture of a farmer on the front, when actually most of our food these days isn't produced on a farm as we traditionally think of it, but in massive factories. Supermarkets have removed the concept of seasons. Think of all the fruit and veg you can get all year round, most of which is picked before it's even ripe, and may have been flown in from other parts of the world. Think about how often meat is served in packets without the presence of bones or blood, things that would remind us that this has come from a living animal. This definitely reminded me of when I was in France last year. I visited a meat counter at a supermarket and was disgusted by what I saw. I thought, if they did this in the UK or the US, they probably wouldn't sell as much. Number 2, the scale of food production. McDonald's is one of the biggest buyers of ground beef, pork, chicken, lettuce, tomatoes and potatoes in the US, which means they have a huge influence on the producers of those foods. Which means even if you aren't eating at a fast food restaurant, you still may be eating from the same food system. And there was one statistic in this movie which absolutely shocked me, which I always feel compelled to tell others who have never seen this. And it is about the world's largest slaughterhouse, or factory as it should be called, which is in Tar Heel, North Carolina. Every day, it slaughters 32,000 hogs. I can't even get my head around that. And it makes me start thinking about the sustainability of it all, and how many days does it take for a hog to grow up to be big enough for slaughter, and then you times that by 32,000. It is mind-blowing and sickening. Number 3, it's not only animals getting abused by the system, it's the farmers, the workers, and the consumers. In the case of workers, it looks at the history of fast food restaurants, how they were able to cut costs by bringing the factory into the kitchen. They didn't need staff to be excellent chefs. They could give them low wages because all they had to do was the same simple task over and over again. And when it comes to workers in meat packing, one of the most dangerous jobs in the US, they too are doing a repetitive task, cutting the same bit of an animal again and again, being exposed to blood, guts, and thus infections. I won't go into this bit in too much detail, but there was some analysis on how some of the big slaughterhouses were advertising work to people in Mexico and bringing them over illegally with buses. The documentary suggests that some of these companies may have a deal with the immigration authorities, so they make daily arrests of illegal workers as opposed to massive raids of the factories, so that the production lines are not disrupted. And in terms of consumers, we have created a system in which it is cheaper to buy unhealthy food. Just consider how much fruit and veggies at a supermarket compared to the dollar menu at a fast food place. This perpetuates a culture of long-term health problems, especially amongst those on low incomes. Number 4, government regulation is being challenged. The concept of this wasn't so much a shock to me, but seeing specific examples was. It talked about how in 1998, the US Department for Agriculture had tests for Salmonella and E. coli. And if food processing plants failed these tests, they could be shut down. However, after being taken to court by meat and poultry associations, they no longer have this power. It also goes into how government is being overtaken by individuals who come from the very industries they're supposed to be regulating. Food Inc. also touches upon some more commonly known examples, how the fast food industry fought against having calorie information put on their products. And of course, the all-famous food labelling of GMOs. Number 5, we can all make a difference. A really brilliant and welcomed message, because towards the end you're like, how are we ever going to fight this gigantic system that is corrupted? And they say something quite simple, which is every time you purchase food, that is a vote which can change the system. And so technically, you get 3 votes a day with every meal. It then gives some more tangible suggestions, like choose foods that are in season and organic, shop at your local farmer markets, or even grow your own. Always read the labels and cook with other people. Something I really want to do a lot more, but it's quite difficult when you live by yourself. And this documentary had a big impact on my life because I have been eating a lot better since. It smashes that out of sight, out of mind mentality. I actually managed to cut meat out of my diet during the week, which was a huge improvement for me. And although I stopped doing this after 6 months, having watched this documentary again just yesterday, it's allowing me to get back into that behaviour. And I find exposing yourself to information and the realities visually, it makes taking those drastic steps in your diet so much easier. It becomes effortless because, yes, bacon tastes really good, but when I see these videos of pigs that are intelligent creatures and how they're treated, I lose the appetite for it, and so it doesn't become a challenge anymore. So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Have you seen Food Inc., or are you going to check it out? And are there any other movies on this topic that you would recommend me seeing? I already hear people saying Cowspiracy. As I've already said, this is the first of a new monthly series called DocWatch. This format will evolve over time, so bear with me and feel free to throw any suggestions my way. Thank you so much for watching. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section of this video and give it a like and share if you'd be so kind. And if you really want to help support the work I do on here, please visit patreon.com/Myles Dyer, where you can support me for as little as $1 a month. You can check me out on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So thank you as always. I will see you next Thursday. Adios, till next time.